Hello guys and welcome to the new video that is the review of the Agents of the Sigillite card pool. So first of all, let's start as always with the Warlords and let's go through every cards. The first one we're going to see is Iota, the Colexus Assassin. Um, he has an interesting ability that gives can't attack or deals 3 damage in the second activation. Um, it's fairly powerful. In the event, I think he's one of the best because he has high initiative, so it's pretty good. The 3 damage is nice, and the fact that it costs only 1 to activate the ability makes it very powerful. I think that this Warlord could see some amount of play. Honestly, 30 HP Warlord are hard to evaluate because their health in some matchups becomes too much of an handicap. So yeah, maybe this could see some play if Perturabo and stuff isn't that much prevalent. That being said, the ability is really good, high initiative is good, so yeah. Tylos Rubio. I think that this card is incredibly strong. He creates a seal in your deck with Battle Honor, and for 1 energy he creates a Psionic Fury in your hand, which is this card right here. Is a tactic, very important, noting that it's a tactic, and gains +2/+0 until the end of turn. So basically, he can stack this up and actually bash for like 6 or 8 damage later on. It's really powerful Warlord, and the fact that it creates seals, it's really the cherry on the cake. And seals are very strong cards that actually go into your deck, and after going into your deck they are tactics, and you can draw them and play them for 3 energy, and these are the seals that you can create. They are all incredibly powerful. Let's start with the Pax Imperialis. Return a troop to hand, and if it's a friendly troop, lower its cost by 8. So it's a good seal, not the best I think of the 5, but it's still strong. We have Seal of the Administratum. Your next 2 protected cost 0. This card is disgusting, is very powerful, and it can make you snowball incredibly hard early on if you drew it early on. We have Seal of the Sisterhood. This is actually my favorite. Jam all the enemy troops and deal 3 damage to all enemies. So it's basically a call that actually jams. So this card, I don't know, it's very strong. Then we have the Secret of the Throne that deals 7 damage to an enemy or heals 7 to a friendly unit. So it's basically Macrage's Honor for 3 energy, and yeah, it's very powerful. And finally, the Secret of Unification, which is basically the irresistible charisma. Take control of an enemy troop this turn and give it fast. One of the most situationals out of all of these, and works with the enemy board and not with your hand or the enemy's face. So I think that it's still strong and it's incredibly good against Desperate Defense. But yeah, maybe against Solo Warlord this is gonna do nothing, so yeah. They are all incredibly powerful, situational, and you have to draw them, but they are incredibly powerful. Malcador, I think that it's the worst out of the 3. He has a Reckoning, 40 HP, and for 1 energy you choose a card in the enemy hand between 3 cards. If it's played before your next turn, create a seed in your deck. He has also low initiative, and the Reckoning actually is this, so he lowers the cost by 2 every time you play a seal. The fact is that it's very hard to proc in a normal game more than 2 seals, 2-3 seals, and even then it costs 9 energy. But after that he becomes like God, and for 2 energy it chooses a seal and creates a copy of it in your hand, not in your deck. So actually you can play it for 5 energy, you can deal 7 damage to the enemy Warlord, you can heal for 7, you can gem all the enemy Warlord and deal 3 damage. I think it's a bit too slow, honestly, but his reckoning is incredibly powerful. The main thing that actually is letting me down a bit is the low initiative and the fact that the ability is basically very bad. So it's like Sanguinius, but Sanguinius has other thing going for him, and you almost never use the ability. You play on curve. In this kind of situation, instead you want to create seals, but you are behind in the board state. So yeah, I don't think that Malcador is the best of the three. I think that Tylos Rubio is the best, also has medium initiative. I create seals with battle honor, so maybe it can create even more seals than Malcador. And yeah, also the Psionic Fury is incredibly strong. It's broken. Then let's go into the Council Informant. For 1 energy, you have a 1/3 that as an ability you can spend 1 energy and choose a tactic from your deck and draw it. It's mainly a worthless card to include in your deck because 1 energy 1/3s are generally pretty bad, and you have to pay for in order to draw the tactics. So I don't think that this will see that much of a play. New loyalty, you choose a troop in the enemy deck, create a copy of it in your hand. This card, it's not bad, it's not good, it's maybe it depends a lot on who you're facing. It can high roll, it can roll low roll, it can create nothing. I wouldn't include this in a serious deck. Relic of the Old Knight, this card is incredibly strong. Not as strong, I think, as Lectitia Divinitatus, but still strong. You choose a card in your hand and return it to your deck and draw 2 cards for 1 energy. So you basically aren't drawing, because you spend this card in order to return another card and then draw 2 cards. So your net gain is 0, but you cycle through your deck very fast. And coupled with Lectitio and all the card draw that neutrals have, this card becomes pretty useful. Also, you can manipulate your hand in order to put away some higher cost troops or tactics. So I think that this card will be played as a 2-of, I think, is in most decks. Then we have the Administratum Archives. Can't attack, is a structure. For 2 energy, 1/5. 2 energies, choose a seal and create a copy of it in your deck. So as much as I want to like this, the fact that it's a 1/5 and also the fact that you have to spend 2 energy in order to create the seals make this really slow, and I honestly wouldn't play this. The only Warlord in which I could see this played is Malcador, because he wants to draw seals more than anyone else. Then we have the classified assignment, and this is a way better copy than this, basically. So you choose a seal, add a copy of it to your hand, and draw a card. So you cycle this card immediately, and also you put a seal in your deck. And also you have to choose it, so it's not a random seal like Rubio does. This and this let you choose among 3 seals, and you put what you think is the best for your situation and your matchup in your deck. Then we have Execution Force, a card that honestly has seen a lot of hate, and I honestly do not think that it's that great. It's not bad, but the fact that you don't even know if the enemy is gonna draw it or not. I think that also it doesn't break shield. Survivors still live through that. So I honestly think that there are better removal than this. Gaze of the Regent is a very strong card, giving can't attack and dealing 2 damage is nice for 2 energy, and also it's a tactic, and there are some cards that interact very nicely with tactics, so I think that this will be played a lot. Malcador Circle, it's not bad. This card is not great, it's not bad. It's a 2-3 for 2 with frontline, uh, and for 1 energy gains +1/+2, so it pumps itself. I think it's pretty strong in the event. I don't think it will see that much of a play in the constructed. Machine. This card got nerfed. Before it was a 2-4 and gained stealth on the rally, and the ability that is actually pretty interesting. So you choose a troop in the enemy's deck, and Machine transforms into it, and as soon as she is attacked, if she survives the attack, then she goes back into stealth, transforming into Machine basically. So this card is really interesting. I think the Warlord that it pairs better is Iota, because this can stop enemy from attacking with this ability. So Machine is actually pretty powerful. Um, yeah, it's a strong card. Then out of moment, give frontline and survivor 1 to a friendly troop. It's not bad. Again, it's a useful tactic. Um, Maybe it's a bit lacking because it doesn't give stats at all, and yeah, survivor 1 is pretty average, but it could have some uses, I think. Not great. Maybe it won't see that much of a play, if any at all. Covert Operative, I like this card honestly. It's a 3-3 stealth for 3, is already pretty good. And rarely you choose a card in the enemy hand, and while this card is in play, if he plays that card, it takes 5 damage. So this card can actually deal 8 damage, and actually the opponent can't really play the most important card is in his hand, because he's taking 5 damage otherwise. So I think that this card will see a good amount of play. Errant Neophyte. So black for 2, for 3, backlash, draw a troop from your deck. I think that this card is pretty bad. It dies to a face bash, and yeah, the backlash isn't going to make up for it, I think. So I don't think that this card will see that much of a play. Eulicidatum Taliman. Rally this 1 damage if target dies, draw a card. This is basically a batterless rifle section, and this will see play for sure. It's very good, very strong. Euphrati Killer. Adjacent unit has a frontline. This includes your Warlord, and for 1 energy you give +1/+1 to your troops. This card is really strong, really strong. In events is almost game breaking, and I think that this will actually see a good amount of play. Yeah, this card will see some play for sure, because giving frontline to the Warlord and having a 1/4 body is actually very strong. Fierce Tenacity. You give a friendly troop, destroy any troop damaged in combat. It's a bit lacking. I mean, for 3 energy you have the Iron Hand card that destroys one of your and one of enemy troops. This requires you to have a troop in play, requires you to damage an enemy troop. I think it's a bit weak. Eden War. On the other hand, this card is pretty interesting. It's basically a talent for murder, I think it's called, Night Lord tactic, and but actually costs 1 less, and doesn't give it can't attack. But I think that this card is pretty useful. It's a nice removal. Also, you can kill the troop with a face bash, and with Rubio you can actually create a seal with it. So I think that this card is interesting. Malcador Sigil, heal 3 to a friendly unit and give it shield. It's a bit meh. Healing 3 for 3 is okay, and giving shield is okay too, but you have Pi Alpha that covers stun, so maybe Malcador wants to play this because he is really slow, but yeah, I wouldn't actually play this card, I think, at first glance. Altan no High, it's a 3-5-4-4, good stat line, and for 1 energy he heals 3 through a friendly unit. I think that this card is not bad, but won't see that much of a play. The 4 energy spot is covered with good cards even in the neutral section, so this falls a bit short. Also, there are some better 4 drops in this faction. We have Burden of Duty. Choose a friendly troop that died and put it in your hand, it costs 2 less. I don't see this card getting played at all, it's too slow. And also requires you to have something dead in order to do something, so yeah. This is one of the better 4 drops of the faction, so maybe the best 4 drop in the faction. So it's a Vindicator Assassin, and already for that you have to play it. 4 energy for 3 stealth, and for 1 energy it deals 5 damage to any target, Warlord or troop, and he loses stealth, and if the target dies it creates a seal in your deck. So this card will see players 2 of in maybe every Agents of the Sigillite deck, I think. It's very good, very strong. Grand Conscripts, if you play a seal, put in play another Grand Conscripts. I think that this card is very lacking. The fact that you have a 4-4-4-4 that does nothing when it comes into play. It's not Merret Mercenary, McCormick's Reapers or Smermo Warriors. This card is way worse. You have to put in your deck a seal in order to draw a seal, in order to play a seal to make another 4-4. It's pretty bad. Kalidasan, frontline 3-5 for 4 energy, and for 1 energy you have the Tushulcha engine. I think that this card is actually very interesting, and maybe in non-combo decks could see play as a one-of. It's a bit lacking because you have this and this falls short, but it's not a bad card. Palatial Intrigue. Choose a tactic that your opponent played this game and put it in your hand, it costs 3 less. So this card is the definition of situational, can be incredible and can be incredibly useless. I wouldn't play this in any of my decks actually. Sigillite Chosen, give +3/+3 and survival 3 to a friendly infantry or Astartes. It's a very strong buff actually, and I think that it will see play a lot, because giving +3/+6 basically on a troop on turn 4 is very strong, and for 4 energy even more. Yeah, I mean even this guy becomes a 3/6 with survival 3 on turn 4. It's like very strong. There are Tyrfingr, former Space Wolves. 5 energy, 3/5, rarely deals 3 damage. If the target dies, create a seal in your deck. This will see play, I think. If Iron Hands play the 4/3 that deals 3 damage on the rally, this is way stronger on a stat line perspective and on the rally perspective, so I think that this card will see a good amount of play. Malcador's Veterans are honestly interesting. I think that this card is being underlooked a bit. It's a 5/6 for 5, it's not Malcadorable, has better raw stat line than Forced Ogrins for 1 energy less, so I think that this card could see a good amount of play. It's pretty bulky for its cost, and actually you can buff it with Sigillite's Chosen, for example, and becomes basically unbearable. Promeus, this is basically Serpent Squad that gets precognition on the rally, and it's a 4/6. This card is incredibly strong because this faction has a lot of draw, a lot of tactics. I mean, with the Rubio, every time you play a Psionic Fury, you actually buff this. So I think that this will see play for sure. Very strong card. Sword of Truth. So, you deal 5 damage, and if the target dies, you create a copy of the target in your hand. Um, Again, it's good, okay, and you will play this because it's 5 damage, but if you compare this to Miatus Cruiser, Miatus Cruiser is way better because it jams. So, yeah, maybe in the late game this is stronger because it creates resources, but it is also legendary, so you can play two of as you can do with Miatus. But yeah, you will play this card anyway, so doesn't matter. Yasu Nagasena, um, 5/5 for 5 and battle honor creates in your deck. This will see no play, I think. Emperor's Approval. This is one of the cards that it's really difficult to evaluate. It gives +1/+1 to all your troops in play, in deck, in hand. Um, it's really strong on paper. It costs 6 though, and costing 6 I don't actually know if this is going to be played. Ganimus. So, 6 energy, 4/5, stealth, terror, and the relentless gain +2/+1. So it's basically Andros Check that costs 1 more and actually isn't legendary. If you want to play aggressively with the Agents of the Sigillite, I think that this is a great card. Otherwise, if you are more on the late game combo oriented, this isn't your card because it's gonna do nothing for you. Karayan Squad. When you play a seal, this troop gains +2/+2, and it's 6/6 for 6. This card sucks. It's very bad. Vardaras is on, so 5/6 for 6, and for 2 energy you deal 2 damage and you can't attack until your next turn. Again, it's very bad because it does nothing when it comes into play, and 6 energy is actually a very sweet spot. You have um, mortars, you have Eta Kappa. You don't want to play this. Even this is way better than this card. Then we have Bodvar Bjarki. Ward 6/7 for 7 and rarely choose a card in the enemy hand. When it is played it gains +2/+2. It's a bit slow, very slow. I don't know if this will see play. I think not, because it's very slow. But yeah, the stats are okay, the word is very nice, so maybe could see some play. Revuel Arvida. When you play a tactic, deal 1 damage to all enemies. This card is very strong. I saw some decks that actually make this work really well with a lot of low cost tactics. So basically in the same way as Serpent Squad strategy works, but this actually deals them to the whole board. And yeah, I think that this card is will be played for sure. The Cursed Wanderer. Legendary, 7 energy, your Warlord gains Survivor rate. It's good. Um, if we will see a very slow kind of deck, I think that this could go in. Otherwise, maybe the Manifest Destiny is just better. But with this Athame and the Manifest Destiny, you could reach the 15 Survivor, which is pretty insane. Yeah, I think that it's not a bad legendary to pick up, honestly. Cerberus. So, if you play a seal and this troop has died, put it back into play. This card, it's very strong. I think that for sure Malcador wants to play it, because he is already going to use a lot of seals anyway. But yeah, maybe even Rubio, because he has a lot of seals. It's a bit slow again. 9/9 for 8 that does nothing when it comes into play, but if he dies, it comes back. I don't actually know if they jam this before killing it, if this triggers when you play the seal. So this is something we have to see. But yeah, otherwise not a bad card. Colexus Assassin, 8 energy, 9/6 stealth, reveal attack in the enemy hand and deal damage equal to its cost to the enemy warlord. Extremely situational, but the fact that it gives you information already on the tooltip, it gives you information on how many tactics the enemy warlord has, makes it interesting. The fact that it's a 9/6 stealth makes it interesting too. So I think that this card maybe in some late game decks could see play as a one-of, but it's really hard to evaluate because their late game it's both strong and inconsistent because they have not that many tools to control the game early on. Inner Chambers, can't attack, resolution, create a seal in your deck and draw a card. This card is way bad, and I think that won't see any play at all. Night Warren, well, 10 energy, 9/10 Bloodthirst, and when you play a seal you heal this troop completely. If Desperate Defense, Agents of the Sigillite is going to be played, this card is in 100%. It's very strong if you can cheat it out. Otherwise, wasting your entire turn to put something that doesn't do anything is actually a bit meh. But yeah, the stat line and the Bloodthirst surely make this card very interesting. And then we have the counter attack, and you give precognition to a friendly troop until your next turn. This counter attack is really strong, and it's actually very good with the Vindicar Assassin after he breaks stealth. It's good on the machine to prevent the hair transformation in getting attacked. It's good on a bunch of things, and I think that it's a very strong counter attack. So overall, this was were my insight of the faction. Let's go into some cards that actually can work well with this. So about the drawing component, we have Arbus Lighter, we have Lectitia Divinitatus for sure, we have Sabotage. If you play Machine and you transform into Alernia Hydra and then Sabotage your machine, it's going to remain Alernia Hydra, so it's worth noting. For sure Kaizu Lane could fit in. Maybe it's a bit slow, I don't know actually. It's still a strong card. You can actually create card that generates seals with it, so maybe. Abandoned Supplies, it's always useful. Malchial can help you with the curve a bit. Then we have... Wait, this card, you never want to play this card actually, but it's really good if played against them. We also have... where is it? Isn't it? It's a Chaos card. Command Bridge, you can fetch seals with it, so this card is a must include. Void Engagement is another draw card that actually is pretty good and deals damage. Also, Inner Sanctum could be pretty useful. And then you have your standard stuff with Chaos Mechanicum and Imperial Army, like Informant Network, that you are going to play for sure because you have no anti-stealth. This card right here. And yeah, maybe also Defense Satellites could be useful because they have no board clear. Also, a thing I wanted to note is basically everything in this faction is infantry. So this is infantry, both the assassins are infantry, so you can actually make a zoo deck with them and play the Secretary Axiarch that buffs them, and also the Noble from Chaos, this guy right here, where is it? The Outrage Noble. that reduces the cost of your next infantry this turn by 2, so you can actually go, for example, Malchial into the Gallimus on turn 3. And yeah, it's a very strong curve. So these were my also with Rubio you could actually play Orders of From Terra and um, play like 3 of your boost card and actually smack for 16 the enemy Warlord. It's pretty funny, I think. Yeah, these were my insights for the Agents of the Sigillite. Let me know what you think of them. I actually do not like their playstyle that much because I do not like the random stuffs and so seals aren't my type of things. But yeah, I think that they are pretty strong anyway. So see you guys next time, and thank you for watching.